Hello there. This is my 51 the Victor. It's a very old razor of mine, one of the first ones that I found that I really loved. Most of my razors are reclaims. Let me move that over just a hair. I'm going to take this razor and I'm going to join it on the edge of this stone. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it back to 1K on this Kyocera 1K stone. Now, we're not going to cover this whole bevel set. I just wanted to do this so that you can see what I'm working with. I'm going to do a series on Arkansas progression, my Arkansas progression, what I'm doing now. What I want to do is I want to catch this in the light and look at it. Yeah, this razor requires a bit of a rolling X. Doesn't need much, but it does require, and that's without a loop. I can see, you can look at a razor. I'm not telling you, I'm not anti-loop. I have a loop and use it quite a bit. You've seen that on this channel. But you don't have to have one. You can look at the bevel of the razor in a strong light, and I have a good fluorescent overhead light here in the bathroom where I'm honing, because that's where we're at. Okay, in case you didn't know. And you can look at that and you can see what the bevel looks like and compensate for what you need. Now later on, as I progress through the stones, I'll be looking through a loop, because I want to see the scratches really well moving from one to another. So stand by for me. It'll be a little bit, because I've got to set this bevel, or reset rather. For you it'll just be a second or two. Stand by. Alright, now we're going to move. The bevel is reset. We're going to move to soft Arkansas. I have switched on the soft Arkansas to dish soap and water. When I move to the harder stones, I'll go straight to when I move to the stones above the standard hard, I will switch to water, plain water. I don't know that it matters. I just do this on kind of the lower abrasive stones, or higher, more highly abrasive, like the soft and the standard hard, because it helps keep the stone clean. But what we're going to do, we're going to use a loop and glass the edge, which I already did, but I'm going to do it again. And fix in my mind what the scratch pattern looks like. And then we're going to go to town on this. All of my Arkansas stones are prepped before honing on them with a 600 grit free cut, or I'm sorry, 800 grit, sorry, wet dry sandpaper. So they're all prepped exactly the same, and I'm using a slight bit of forward torque on the soft Arkansas. Not very much, but a slight bit. And if you hear a car horn, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it or not. But I have a neighbor down the hill that must have bought a brand new vehicle because he's got his security system set so that a slight gust of wind sets off his alarm. So every 15 minutes or so the thing goes off, and he goes out there and I guess goes to the door and turns it off with his remote and goes and sits back down in front of the TV or whatever in the heck that he is doing. Those alarms, to my knowledge, have a sensitivity setting so that it won't do stuff like that. So, you know, it's obvious to me that he either doesn't have a brain or he wants everybody to know, and this has been going on for days. So this would be my guess, is that he wants everybody to know that he's got himself a new car. And I'm applying a bit of forward torque to this, and I'm also graduating pressure across the edge of the razor as it passes across the stone. And what I'm doing is I'm going to hone until the scratch pattern from the 1K is gone, and all I have is a scratch pattern that comes from the soft. And honestly, the soft leaves more of a scratch pattern than the 1K does. But I have tried, and I had some success. You know, everybody wants like a full oil stone progression. They want everything. You know, they want the bevel set on an oil stone. They want all the way through, right? Well, hate to tell you, but in my experience, most oil stones that I know of go too low to really have an edge that's prepped well enough to move to Arkansas stones. The medium and the fine India, and this may be because, and you can see the water, okay, it's passing over that perfectly fine with no issues whatsoever. So that's a good thing. But anyway, you may have to prep them. My India stone is prepped for knives, and what I mean by that is it is the result of myself flattening that stone with a 400 grit diamond plate. That's the level of prep that my fine India has been prepped to, and that might make a difference. You might have to dedicate a fine India just to straight razors and prep it a different way. If I could afford to, I would pick up another fine India and dedicate it just to straight razors and see if that made a difference. I think it probably would, but we will see. We won't see because I don't have it, and I can't. What I'd really like to do is get just a fine India stone and prep one side of it for knives and one side of it for straight razors. And they're not very expensive. I think they're like $25. But I already have a fine India. My money is finite. So's everybody else's, by the way. Most people's, anyway. And I can't buy another fine India. I have a fine and a fine and coarse combination, and that's where it'll stay. But if I did, then I would do that. I would prep that, find out what prep is required for that stone, and pass that information on to you. But it's not difficult if you really want to go from bevel set, from before the bevel set all the way through to finish on oil stones. You can do that work yourself and just keep testing until you get something. What I would do is I would prep the stone so that I got something comparable to what a 1K stone would give me. The biggest thing you're going to look for in a fine India is that you don't create jagged or sawtooth edge with the fine India before going to a soft, because that was the problem that I had with the fine, was that it was creating little microchips. In the soft Arkansas, it took forever to get those chips out. Alright, I looked at this a moment ago and it was good, but I always tend to hone just a little bit more. So that's the soft. We'll come to the hard in the next video. Bless you and thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later.